That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. It's the fourth feature directed by Kirk DeMicco, who's Oscar nominated for 2014's The Croods, also directed Vivo and Space Chimps, all animated. This is co-directed by Faryn Pearl, making her debut. She's worked in the art department on many other notable animated films you may have heard of. It's being released June 30th, 2023, courtesy of Universal Pictures.
The story. A shy adolescent learns that she comes from a fabled royal family of legendary sea krakens and that her destiny lies in the depths of the waters, which is bigger than she could have ever imagined. So Ruby's supposed to be just a regular girl. And go ahead.
Yep, just a regular blue girl. Living with her family of krakens that are posing as humans. Everybody believes that of them because they say they're Canadian. Much like in Coneheads, how everybody believes that they're from France.
So they live in a little town called Oceanside. So Ruby is a teenager. Her mom is pretty strict, tells her and her brother they can never go into the ocean. Ruby wants to go to prom. Her mom's telling her no.
Because prom is on a boat.
But this little boy she likes ends up falling into the water.
Connor.
And Ruby dives in to save him. And as soon as her ass hits that sea water, salt water, she turns into a big ass kraken. Mm-hmm. And we're told that this only happens to the females.
The females. And there are only 3 female krakens, her grandmother, her mother, and herself. The males keep their regular little bitty size.
So of course she's freaked out and starts running like Forrest Gump. And through her little journey, she meets her grandmother, and her grandmother tells her all about what's going on and that there are mermaids.
Grandmama, voiced by Jane Fonda, is the ruler of the 7 seas, and she fought I guess a very brutal war with the mermaids to claim that title.
However, there's another girl at school, Chelsea, who's also masquerading as a human, but she's a mermaid. Mm-hmm. And Ruby and Chelsea become close, and she realizes that she should try to help Chelsea free her mermaid sisters. Mm-hmm. And to do so, they need the trident.
Yes, the trident is the only weapon that works against the krakens, and Agatha, voiced by Toni Collette, Ruby's mother, was the one that defeated the mermaids by getting the trident and putting it in this volcanic underwater vortex, basically.
People made fun of me in the Little Mermaid review because I didn't know the word trident, so I called it a big fork.
Somebody makes that joke in this movie
really?
As well. Somebody calls it a big fork. Mm-hmm.
So Ruby gets the trident to Chelsea, but Chelsea's not her friend. Chelsea's trying to save her people.
Chelsea is actually the mermaid that fought Agatha, her mother, Nerissa. And of course, Annie Murphy voices Chelsea from Schitt's Creek.
So of course, everything culminates with needing to stop Chelsea, and to do so, her and her grandma and her mom.
Grandmama. It's a very mommy dearest moment of Jane Fonda.
They destroy the trident by using like little lasers from their eyes.
They all 3 grab it, and Ruby, as a human, is an expert at math, and she says we can use the exponential growth factor to.
Oh, it's not lasers?
They do have lasers coming from their eyes.
Oh.
That they can harness that power, but it takes all 3 ladies.
So they prevent the mermaids from taking over, and all's well that ends well. Ruby gets to go to prom with her little boyfriend.
Connor, who's voiced by Jaboukie Young White, the comedian. And there's a character named Gordon Lighthouse, which I'm assuming
Lightfoot.
Is a reference to the singer Gordon Lightfoot, who had a very famous song about a wrecked ship, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Lake Superior, voiced by Will Forte, who's kind of a Captain Ahab type. A lot of the elements of this film feel very derivative, but Will Forte's Gordon Lighthouse has a little crab that's his helper, I think, whose name is Davy, and I thought Davy was kind of funny.
Did you like this movie?
Not particularly. It's okay. I think the message is very basic. I think the animation is kind of basic. I didn't really like how the Krakens looked. I think Ruby, who's voiced by Lana Condor of To All the Boys I've Loved Before films. She looks like Catherine Waterston as a Kraken to me. I didn't understand that when she becomes this large thing that everybody has all these stereotypes about how evil they are, she just still has a human-looking head.
What did you like about this movie?
I think I liked Jane Fonda's voice work and Toni Collette. Domingo is the dad, Arthur. who that I don't think has much to do. There's also an Uncle Brill, voiced by Sam Richardson, who's giving me kind of T.J. Miller vibes, which I thought was off-putting as a visualization. It has the initial setup. I'm like, oh, is this going to be like Alice in Wonderland or maybe Attack of the 50-Foot Woman based on it? It's such an odd story, but it doesn't really play as well with that oddness as I thought it would, because once these female krakens dip into the ocean, they just need to be on land for a little bit before they shrink down to size again. And I guess I was just more interested in certain mechanics like that. Jane Fonda, well, I think is well cast as this imperious woman who will not be told what to do. She kind of reminded me of her character in Peace, Love, and Misunderstanding, where she plays the hippie mother to Catherine Keener.
I've seen that movie.
You have seen that movie, yeah.
That movie's terrible.
She has some funny lines because that movie is terrible too. But when Ruby first disobeys her mother and goes in search of her grandmother because she didn't know that she had one until her uncle suddenly visits, Grandmama tries to give her cookies, underwater cookies, I don't know. And she goes, oh, I made someone make them, which I thought was funny. And Agatha is...
I made someone make them. Okay.
Agatha, the mother, is big into real estate, and she's kind of having a big event to announce herself as a bigger real estate entity in Oceanside the same night as the prom, so that gets interrupted. And once Nerissa gets a hold of the trident, she grows into this Lady Gremlin looking thing who's equally as big somehow, and she's destroying this house that Agatha is selling, and Agatha's all upset. She's like, hey, that house was an escrow. Which I just think moments like that would have been...
I have a question as I was reviewing the plot. Why don't the mermaids deserve to also be free?
I don't think the film does a good job of constituting that, because the whole reason that Agatha has demanded that her family live on land as humans is to save her daughter from the monsters in the ocean, which are the mermaids. But
that seems odd because the krakens don't belong with the humans either, right? So shouldn't both be allowed to live how they want to live
peaceably in the ocean? I thought so, but again, I think that's where the messaging is pretty much basic, where we're all much better off being our authentic selves. But I think even that interpretation is a real broad stretch, because at the end of the day, the agreement between Ruby and Agatha and Grandmama is that we're not gonna, like Michelet, no more lies. We're just gonna just tell each other the truth about how we're feeling about things.
Shout out to Michelet.
That's a good song. But yeah, I don't know. That's about it.
What would you give it?
2.5
out of 5.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.